Anyway, let's play the NBA game.
Oh, Gazzy, I like this.
Where's Garrett Temple?
Oh, wow. Garrett Temple.
I know the answer, so I'm just...
Cup of coffee with the Kings, right? I think for a while.
You may know where he was.
A couple of cups.
I'm asking you where he at.
Where is Garrett Temple? You know the answer?
I know the answer unequivocally, yeah.
Anyone else know the answer back there? Anyone want to guess? Venture a guess? Back, Chris?
I don't even know who Garrett Temple is.
Okay. Billy?
Spurs.
All right. Good guess. Roy?
We're talking about Gary Temple? Who is that?
We're talking Garrett Temple.
I don't know. The Rockets? I don't know.
I'm going to go Clippers.
I feel like he's on the Jazz, though.
Okay.
I've never.
Amin, you want to learn him?
Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, wow.
That was close.
Live from ESPN Studios in South Beach. It's the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Many of you have spent the weekend thinking about Michael Doleac. Many of us have spent the weekend thinking about Michael Doleac. So we will get to your songs, and we will make this a very painful day for Chris Cody with the call screening. The telephone number is 786-456-4837. Did LeBron do the thing? Did he do the thing all weekend? Did he spend the weekend doing the things, Stugotz? Because I do get frustrated by the way that we cover these regular season games. The Clippers won a couple of times against the Lakers, and everyone said, oh, look, built to beat the Lakers. And then the Lakers win yesterday, and it becomes about the Lakers are the best team in the league, and you've got to have something at the rim for LeBron James. Those two teams are very evenly matched, and I know the Lakers have been better at everything this year. I also know that the Clippers haven't been trying much of the year because they're sitting some of their they're sitting some of their big guys.
They had their top 8 yesterday. That's the first time they've lost with their top 8 guys in their rotation.
But I'm saying, how do you react to one game? Because, yes, LeBron looked great. Anthony Davis looked great. But now I turn on my televisions and all the conversations are about, is LeBron the MVP? And it's a bit annoying that we haven't learned after all these years. It's been a decade of LeBron teaching you that one-game samples in the regular season don't mean anything.
Right. Listen, he did do that thing Friday night against the Milwaukee Bucks because that's a team that still hasn't made it to an NBA final, and LeBron told them, hey, if you do, if you're lucky enough, if you're fortunate enough to get out of the East, I'll be there waiting, and Giannis is going to have to hit some threes, which he did not do on Friday night. He was 1 of 6. Kawhi has won titles. So he didn't really do that thing to the Clippers that he normally does because Kawhi could just come back at him and say, hey, I don't care about this regular season stuff. I've won titles already. Giannis has not won a title yet.
Well, Giannis also lost against Phoenix the following day. Didn't they lose? They did.
Giannis
They
was
lost,
out.
but he didn't play. So
Okay.
Giannis didn't lose.
Giannis is out tonight as well, I believe.
So he stole his soul. LeBron stole his soul because he was guarding him. He was guarding Giannis and guarding him well throughout that game. And there is something to be said that about the Clippers not being able to protect the rim. And if LeBron James is going to get easy baskets at the rim, you're going to have a problem. But I feel pretty comfortable in saying if those teams play a 7-game series, A, we don't know who's going to win. B, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch because we don't know who the hell's going to win.
Yeah, and it was fun to see that LeBron told the coaching staff of the Lakers that I am guarding Kawhi the night before. Like, that's goosebump type stuff. Like, this is personal to him. Kawhi not coming to the Lakers is personal. Kawhi going to the Clippers and not joining LeBron is personal. This is going to be a great Western Conference final if indeed we get it.
And one of the storylines of this new Clippers-Lakers rivalry is they each have a Morris twin now. Markieff signed with the Lakers. Marcus signed with the Clippers. Marcus has once called himself the LeBron stopper.
Okay, but yesterday, you see Marcus's stat line?
This is what I'm getting
Look at the whole stat
Marcus
line
Morris's
for our
stat
man,
line.
Marcus Morris, the LeBron stopper.
The LeBron stopper went 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3. At around 0 for 6, do you really need to chalk up number 7? You feel like number 7's going in? You got that Tim Hardaway confidence?
He finished with 1 point, right?
Yeah, 1 from the line. He split 2.
I am telling you that I believe that scoring 1 point in an NBA game is more embarrassing than scoring 0. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Levitard Show. Is scoring 1 point in an NBA game more embarrassing than not scoring at all?
Patrick Beverley came out saying it's not at all hard to defend LeBron James. So the LeBron stopper and the guy who said it's not at all difficult to guard LeBron were the team worst in plus-minus. Patrick Beverley minus 16 and the LeBron stopper minus 13. They were a hindrance to their team's chances to win.
You know what is interesting about the aging process for LeBron, because he's got more mileage.
He doesn't age?
Well, you say that, but I would say that physically you're simply wrong. I would say that he looks a good deal slower. Now, he might be smarter and craftier, but there have been a number of times this season where he looks 35 years old, where he's getting stuffed by the rim, where he's not getting up the way that you're expecting him to, where he is lumbering to stay in front of Giannis, even as he stays in front of Giannis.
He also made the puzzling decision, it would appear just from his body type. He looks like he's bulked up again, and that's usually when he bangs down inside, but he's got Anthony Davis now, and he's initiating a lot of offense from the perimeter. It was a curious decision for him to bulk up, I thought.
That's going to be the interesting thing. Anthony Davis in a game in which he had LeBron, Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis was the best player on the floor, right? And can he do that in the postseason? Can he do that for an entire series? Can he stay healthy?
Stugotz, he can do that against anybody in the
world. I
world.
haven't seen it in the postseason.
He's one of the best, but you have seen it in the postseason. You don't remember it, but he has played postseason games that are very strong. You're not even doing postseason. You need to see it in the Western Conference Finals. You're not even doing, like, he's had some monster games.
I don't consider
in
the first round to be the postseason, Dan. I
think they made it to the second round one time.
He doesn't consider that the postseason.
Well, he literally hasn't seen Anthony Davis do it in the postseason because he doesn't watch the Pelicans when they play in the postseason.
Well, let's
who does?
Let's undercut Stugotz's basketball credibility here by doing something that we were remiss in not doing, as all of Sports America celebrated Dwayne Wade for about 10 days, where there was a documentary on his life, and the Miami Heat retired his uniform number, and everyone was enjoying the legacy of Dwayne Wade. And here's what our man Stugotz had to say a couple years ago about Dwayne Wade threatening him.
If he goes to Cleveland and he plays 1 second of one game in a Cavs uniform, I will make sure that he never gets a statue and that jersey is never retired in the arena. I'll make sure of it.
Haven't seen the statue yet, have you?
You're 0 for 1 so far.
Well, what happened? What happened with the giant jersey?
It
was a giant jersey. Let's hear that again. If you want to hear from Stugotz again, we were remiss in not playing this again and again as all of Sports America celebrated the retirement of Dwayne Wade's jersey number.
If he goes to Cleveland and he plays 1 second of one game in a Cavs uniform, I will make sure that he never gets a statue and that jersey is never retired in the arena. I'll make sure of it.
So Stugotz has an ally, a rings ally.
He pretty much only played 1 second of one game. Listen, I realized that the jersey was going to be a tough task, so I forgot about the jersey. I called Pat. He said it wasn't happening.
I doubled
my efforts on the statue.
On the statue.
Yes,
okay, very good.
Yes, exactly.
So Draymond Green is a bit like Stugotz in pointing at rings. And let's first hear from Charles Barkley and how it is that Draymond Green got incited by Charles Barkley.
He had his normal triple single.
Golden State.
Why you on him so hard? He talk all that stuff when he got them other boys with him.
Don't encourage him.
Come on, wait. No, man. He talks all that stuff when he got them other boys with him. Now he got out there and fight for himself. He just don't want to play. Give me a break. Y'all better quit telling me who can play and who can't play. I know who can play.
He's got his normal triple single is a great line. And Draymond Green didn't think so.
No, Barkley should stop before I go take his job, though. So I can do that well, too. He already ain't make enough money playing, so he need that job. He should stop talking to me. I like to, tendency to end people. So he should stop before I take his job.
Not soon, all right?
If he keep talking, I'll take it soon, sooner than he thinks. So yeah, he probably should be quiet. He also can't talk basketball with me either. Not smart enough, not qualified. No rings, can't sit at this table.
Sounds like he's in a lazy river.
It sounds like he's absolutely taking a bath.
Sounds like he's eating.
If he takes Barkley's job soon, that would mean he's out of the league, and it would probably be because he's not doing well.
It's like the one guy you can't come for his job in sports broadcasting, right? Like,
Well, that's
because
the
Draymond
thing.
Green's a great
Well,
talker.
No, but Draymond's not as good at either job. Because he's not the player. He's not nearly the player that Charles Barkley was. But I'd like to identify again what's happening here. Is this indeed a lazy river? And is Draymond Green clearly chewing big league chewing gum?
No, Barkley should stop before I go take his job, though. So I can do that well, too. He already ain't make enough money playing, so he need that job. He should stop talking to me. I like to, tendency to end people. So he should stop before I take his job.
Not soon, all right?
If he keep talking, I'll take it soon, sooner than he thinks. So yeah, he probably should be quiet. He also can't talk basketball with me either. Not smart enough, not qualified. No rings, can't sit at this table.
It's more like parasailing.
No, he's chewing.
Is he in a
Mike's got it
dinghy?
right, where it's like a bath. He imagines him with one of those inflatable duckies in a bath. What is happening there? We would like as much Draymond Green, Charles Barkley beef as we can find. Billy, did you take over the call screening on Doleac? How do you feel about what's in front of us now?
They're not. They're entertaining enough.
When is Doleac coming on with us to judge the songs? At what time is he doing that?
12:30.
Okay, so
Wow.
All right, so we've got
We're not going to make these people wait on hold for
I
2.5 hours.
I say what we do is we get a bunch of submissions, and the best ones we'll cut up the clips of it, and we can play the best clips for him.
That's a good idea,
Wow.
Chris. Your week has started a lot better than last week ended.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection for more than vehicles with insurance expertise to keep your company moving forward. More at ProgressiveCommercial.com. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. As you just heard, Michael Doleac will be there at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Bills have agreed to a one-year deal with cornerback Josh Norman worth $6 million with incentives that could reach $8 million.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
In the NBA, the Lakers defeated the Clippers 112-103. JaVale McGee said following the victory, quote, "It was very important just to quiet the doubters. The Lake Show is the best team in the world right now." Here's the Select Quote difference. Most companies give you one option, one policy, one rate, but Select Quote shops and could get you up to 10 options from highly rated life insurance companies. For a free personalized quote, call 800-780-1010 or go to selectquote.com today. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
More than a stew.
I'm supposed to reenact the Casino Royale scene where James Bond gets out of the ocean.
Wearing what?
A Speedo. Ooh.
Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code ESPN25 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid Seat. Take advantage of Casper's end-of-season sale with savings up to 20%. Get the mattress of your dreams at Casper.com now through March 23rd. Terms and conditions apply. See Casper.com/terms.
All right, we're going to take some Michael Doleac songs here, 786-456-4837. The second best result is that you sing a good song. The best result is that you sing a terrible one. Here is the standard bearer for best Doleac song ever.
Passing the ball to Michael Doleac.
So that's what we're going for here. Michael Doleac, a backup center for a decade in the league, will join us at 12:30 Eastern to judge some of these songs. Let's start with Hank. Hank, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
I want Michael Doleac, 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 Doleac. I want Michael Doleac, 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 Doleac. Chili's, Doleac ribs. Chili's, Doleac ribs. Barbecue sauce.
A lot of people spent the whole weekend working on these.
You think they'd be better?
Aaron, you're on ESPN Radio. Aaron.
Just let us know which ones you want us to replay from Michael Doleac.
Aaron, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
He's Michael Doleac. Yep. Them other sinners don't know how to act. Yep. He'll box you out and leave you on your back. Yep. Don't take it to his paint.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That one makes a cut.
Yeah.
I do think that makes the cut.
Doleac ribs, no.
1 for 2.
Kevin, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Boom, 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 boom. Mike Doleac brings all his boys to the yard, and his game is better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. He will teach you how to take good charge. Mike Doleac brings all his boys to the yard.
That's going to be a no.
Really? Hard no, huh?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm still not sure where to stand on this whole entire bit.
You know what? I'm going to put it as a maybe. We'll get back to it.
See what else comes in.
Travis, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Travis.
Guess who's back? Back again. Doleac. ESPN. Doleac. 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 Doleac.
So we're in repeats.
I did think that I went to that only because I was hoping that he would say, instead of tell a friend, tell Rafe LaFriend. I was hoping that we would have a Rafe LaFriend's reference.
They never really shared the court, Dan. It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
It's still
as was Rafe LaFriend's back in his day.
He was a bit of a stretch.
He was ahead of his time.
He really was. I'm regretting this idea.
You were holding out hope for Rafe LaFriend.
I was.
There.
That's the reason that I went to that.
What's a tie?
I saw Eminem. No, the tie is tell a friend.
No, I understand. I think they played in the same era for a little bit, I guess. And again, white.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you being a stickler about whether or not Doleac played 2 or 3 seasons at the same time as Rafe LaFriend?
I think LaFriend's first year was Doleac's last year.
But it seems unnecessary. It seems unnecessary as a timeline distinction. It doesn't seem like a correction that's needed.
But you made it seem like the only way
it
was
is
going
the
to
only
be a yes
way.
or no for you
It
was
is.
Rafe LaFriend.
If he had said, tell Rafe LaFriend, I would have howled with laughter. But instead, it was just a repeat of another Doleac song.
I have great news for Dan. Both their careers started in 98, 99,
Wow.
their NBA careers, and they both ended in 07,
Look
08.
at that. They're exactly at the same time. And you were a jerk stickler about they never played together.
Man, I apologize.
Rafe LaFriend retired the moment Doleac did because they were brothers. They were brothers in basketball.
Aquí lo que importa es el catch.
Really, just like 2 ships in the night.
When is the last time you cleaned your car? There's still popcorn spilled under that seat, or if you're me, a chicken wing from 2014. Get all of the things you need to clean your car up at Advanced Auto Parts. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, spring is your chance to make your lawn look like the perfectly trimmed work of art. You watch your favorite team run across on TV, but before you get to work, make sure you can get to work. Advance Auto Parts will test your lawn and garden battery for free. If it needs to be replaced, grab an Autocraft lawn and garden battery starting at just $22.99. Plus, enter the code DAN20 when you buy online to save 20%. Think ahead. Think Advance. Only at Advance Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Titillate.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Bills have agreed to a one-year deal with cornerback Josh Norman worth $6 million with incentives that can reach $8 million. The Lakers defeated the Clippers 112-103. LeBron James pumped in 28 points, had 9 assists, grabbed 7 rebounds, had 2 blocks. Despite all of that, Patrick Beverley says guarding LeBron is, quote, not hard at all. And finally, a Swiss cheesemakers Gruyere? Close.
No, it wasn't.
Gruyere? You sure about that?
Yes.
I think it might be Yare.
My favorite part of that whole experience was Stugotz trying to sound it out to himself before reading as if he were in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. Gruyere? Are you
Yes.
sure about that?
Yes.
You might want to check it. Anyway, Gruyere was dubbed the 2020 World Champion cheese at the Biennial. Oh, boy. What a tough story. Biennial International Face-Off at Wisconsin. That's a tough word, Dan. Cheesemaker Michael Speicher of Mountain Dairy Fritzenhaus in Bern, Switzerland beat a record 3,667 entries at the World Championship Cheese Contest in Madison.
You angered the and finally gods by nailing coup d'etat that one time. It was the worst thing that could have ever happened to you.
Well, the other thing is, I realized this weekend. It came to me with a shock because we were rather amazed that he got coup d'etat correct. But of course he would. Stugotz is going to know exactly what a coup d'etat is. He's going to know how to pronounce it, how to execute it. Of course he is, because he's shady.
Thanks, Dan. SportsCenter brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 of 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Can you pronounce the Lakers, the Lake Show, the best team in basketball when you've played 12 minutes and had 5 points and 3 rebounds? Is JaVale McGee allowed?
That's what he does, though.
Is JaVale McGee allowed to pronounce, to exclaim to all that the Lake Show is the best show in sports and the best team in basketball after playing 12 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds?
He's carved out a nice little lane for himself in this career of
Look,
his.
man, the thing that the Warriors did that was more impressive than anything else they did is they made Swaggy P and JaVale McGee champions. It nukes every thought anyone's ever had that you can't win with. Knuckleheads, they not only made them champions, those guys looked so very competent on that team because all JaVale had to do was hang around near the rim and just dunk the ball. You didn't have to do anything else. I've never understood why JaVale's not better. JaVale.
Oh, when he gets the minutes, he gets his numbers. But
JaVale as an athlete, okay, before we started seeing these guys spring up all over the place, it was super rare to see a 7-footer with JaVale McGee's skill set, like where you were watching him and you're like, good God, this man is a legitimate athlete. He can jump out of the gym. He runs at a pace that's substantive. He's not lumbering. He looks graceful out there, except when he looks extraordinarily clumsy.
I do love the notion that he's one of these championship DNA guys. Like the Warriors did it with JaVale and Swaggy P. When I was growing up, it was like Kurt Thomas.
It's so great.
It was like the glue guys to a title team.
It is the largest tribute that The largest tribute you could give Michael Jordan is to say that his greatest accomplishment is that he made bald cool. And the greatest accomplishment of those champion Golden State Warriors is that they somehow gave credibility to JaVale McGee and Swaggy P. Look up on the internet them doing that, what is it, a cinnamon test, where you just try and eat as much cinnamon as you can, and nobody can actually do it, and so you end up coughing and gagging and stuff.
Yeah, we must say, don't try it at home. Just watch other stupid people do it. Watching Kawhi is a really fun experience because I've read some on it, and I really wish he would open up more about it, how obsessive compulsively he watches Michael Jordan, because when that dude plays, look, I'm not doing the thing saying he is Jordan. I'm not. But when you watch him play, he emulates the moves. Like, he physically imitates him, and he looks like Michael Jordan. There was a move where not only when he blew past LeBron James, but there was another time where he sort of blew past LeBron James to set him up on the push-off move, and he hit the exact same Utah Jazz game-winning jumper. It's really fun to watch if you're a big Jordan fan.
It's kind of like Kobe, right? I mean, Kobe really studied Michael's game, and Kawhi has done the exact
Kobe
same
studied
thing.
Michael's interviews. I've told you that story before. I heard Kobe talking one time from another room, and I thought it was Michael Jordan. He said as much. He said that he would study his interviews, his cadence.
And Kawhi actually had a pretty close relationship with Kobe Bryant. Both of them were private about their personal relationships. Kawhi's cool because he's such a mystery, but I would like some sort of insight into just how that dude prepares.
Well, the insight came in a profile from Lee Jenkins of Sports Illustrated, who the Clippers promptly hired in order to recruit Kawhi to Los Angeles. Right, Lee Jenkins was the guy who was actually writing things about Kawhi that were interesting.
Yeah, it's hard to make him interesting. Like, the most interesting thing about Kawhi Leonard is something that's fake, but I've just made it real. Like Apple Time. That's real in my mind. I don't care if it's fake.
I'm wondering, though, if anyone else finds themselves annoyed by how quickly the one-game results in Max Kellerman saying statement weekend from LeBron James, reminding everybody that he's still the best player, that we're still doing this best player thing from quarter to quarter.
Well, it's the weekend. It wasn't just one game. It's beating the Bucks.
You understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, Giannis Antetokounmpo does not have a teammate as good as the one LeBron has to keep him young. Like, I mean, don't, come on. Come on. Like,
Giannis is young, so.
No, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't have a second guy as good as Anthony Davis, and his record and their season has been better by leaps and bounds than the Lakers' season has been.
But I think that's sports media, that's sports radio, that's sports gas bagging, where to start the weekend, Giannis is the MVP. But LeBron beats him, he guards him, Giannis doesn't play that well, Giannis gets hurt, and then LeBron does what he does to the Clippers the following game. Of course, you're going to have people saying it's still LeBron's league.
I actually don't believe that it's sports radio and sports gas bagging. I believe that it's a need on a Monday to talk about something. And we have precious little from the sports weekend to grab onto. And so that Laker-Clipper game will be some sort of referendum on something when it's just another game that those two teams played.
I do think it should be a referendum on, hey, LeBron's still king. LeBron's still good. He can still tap into that, and we all get excited. We've been trying to replace LeBron since Steph started cooking out in the Bay Area. Like, Giannis asked for something. Remember in December when Giannis trolled LeBron James and started crowning himself? That's December. Okay, I'll see you in June. And he just showed you right now
that it's March.
Yeah, but he still shows you, like, okay, get excited, young buck, literally, in December. Like, plenty of people try to take it.
I'm not disputing that. I am not disputing that he's gone for 30, 10, and 10 against Luka and Zion and Trae Young. I'm just looking here at the stat line, and Anthony Davis was better than him yesterday. And you're telling me that LeBron James is the best player in the world. Now, you will get no dispute from me on the greatness of LeBron James, but yesterday's game was not LeBron James being greater than Anthony Davis. So you can tell me LeBron James is the best player in the world, but yesterday he wasn't better than his teammate.
Right, but Anthony Davis, you're only seeing him in this kind of spotlight being this great because of LeBron James. Anthony Davis, left to his own devices, has never played in big games. It's kind of like Kyrie Irving. I mean, LeBron does deserve, and we're fortunate to still have this 17 years in, that LeBron James is still playing at this level and still has enemies like Kawhi Leonard and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You just mentioned Kyrie, which has been my favorite storyline of the NBA weekend.
We got to get to that. We got to get to another coach fired.
Pay that man his money.
Didn't Durant go there because of Atkinson? Didn't he say that he loved the scheme? Didn't it? But isn't that a thing? What do you mean, who knows?
Well, who knows with KD anymore? I
but
mean,
what he
Kyrie
said-
enough. I mean, having those two around not playing basketball must be the biggest pain in the ass on the planet.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Having Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and not having them be able to play basketball, is it the biggest pain in the ass on the planet? Granger has been bailing out facility managers for a very long time. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yeah, running your business is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year job. Every problem, every solution is up to you. When a problem arises and you need a solution, Granger's got your back. Whether you need critical items fast, something isn't working like it should, or you just can't find exactly what you're looking for, Granger's ready to help. Because you don't stop, neither do they. Granger has 24/7 customer support, sourcing specialists, and same-day pickup and delivery options. Don't forget about their on-demand products and technical expertise. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, Granger's got your back. Call, click Granger.com, or stop by a branch. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to the sensational dance.
Where does that rank in terms of your achievements? Like, it felt pretty good, right? I understand that winning football games feels pretty good, but it had to feel pretty good to win at Jeopardy, like to beat a Shark Tank guy and to end up beating an astronaut.
Yeah, probably number 2 highlight of my life. Number 1 was the only time I've dunked on somebody. There's just not another feeling on a 10-foot hoop, by the way, of actually dunking on someone. It was a pickup basketball game when I was in, I think I was 19. So that's number 1, Jeopardy 2.
Interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard Show podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Why settle for average? With Capital One, you can open a savings account with a rate 5 times the national average. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Capital One N.A. member FDIC. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Billy, would you be kind enough to tell me how you feel about the Michael Doleac songs that you have gathered over the last half hour? How are these Michael Doleac songs that you've put together for us?
The saddest thing that's happened to me today is that someone had a Mike Doleac Macarena and the call dropped before I could put him on hold, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Why
big
don't,
loss.
let's see if we can get a call back here by getting rid of some of these calls. Give us what remains the standard bearer here, Mike. We still believe that this has not yet been topped in terms of something that'll make you sway and feel it in your soul, a musical accomplishment, a heavenly rendition of Billy Joel's Movin' Out. Let's see if anyone can do better than this. Dave, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Dave.
Doleac! Right in the whack! Got trapped in the bathtub shack! He's Doleac! Michael Doleac!
Is that one a keeper?
Racket.
Wow. That was AC/DC? Poorly?
Worse.
Well, poorly. I mean, just depends if you recognize the song, I guess. It was done pretty well.
It's still poor.
Is it bad that my favorite Doleac song that we've had in these 2 days was the Rajon Rondo song?
Max, you're on ESPN Radio. Max, go ahead.
Doleac! Doleac! I think they got your number! Doleac!
Mike, you're holding up a finger like I should know something about what you're...
I'll find Brett Hull drunk at a parade. Hang on.
Okay, thank you. If you can do that, I would appreciate it. At any point, we can play some Brett Hull drunk at a parade. We want to do that.
They are the champions. Glory, Gloria. 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 I think I got your number. Gloria.
It is one of the most magical things I've ever experienced because it was very early in the day. Most people are not drunk that early in the day.
Most people are not Brett Hall.
That's right. Brett Hall, though, had gotten his party on, and he would have melted breathalyzers from counties over the entire run.
They are the champions. Glory, Gloria. Gloria.
So good.
Gloria. I think I got the number.
That guy.
Gloria.
That guy is definitely a close talker at the bar, right? Like, there's no disputing
no doubt.
that he is doing a lot of close talking. He's leaning in. He is every conversation he's having with you is chin first.
Yeah, he's also at the urinal at the sports bar, and he's got flip-flops on. I'm like, a little close to the urinal with the flip-flops.
Very chatty at the urinal, right? He's talking to everybody in there.
Yeah, and he'll talk to you, and then he'll just go back to going, Gloria!
That person has no spatial awareness, right?
Yeah,
the
and-
person who...
Yeah, he'll be reading the paper, and he'll say something like, bleep him, as he continues to read to himself.
You have
losing his
someone
balance.
reading the paper.
Yeah. I did not tell you this. I saw Brett Hall at Flanagan's the other day.
I'm scared to go to any more of these songs. Reggie, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Let's get Doleac. I want to get Doleac. It's Michael Doleac. Let me see your Doleac. Your Doleac. Let me see your Doleac.
Is that Olivia Newton-John? Let's get physical. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
physical. Let's get Doleac.
Do we have any that we're playing back for Doleac yet? Or?
Jason, you're on ESPN Radio. Go
If
ahead.
only he said Ray for friends.
Jason, go ahead.
When he was playing basketball, he drove the paint 'cause he was tall. He played a year with a guy named Shaq. I think his name was Michael Doleac. Mike Doleac. Mike Doleac. I want to play with Mike Doleac.
Play that one
an
back.
original piece.
In my
Yeah.
defense,
Billy, 2 minutes.
Wait,
Get
hold
out
on.
of here. Billy, get out
That's
of
the
here.
guy that called when you were talking to me,
Get
so I just
out
put
of
him on
here.
hold.
Go sit in the penalty box.
Wow,
It's,
man.
it's an original piece.
That is not something that
That
should
made
have
an effort,
been
I mean.
on the air.
Not so easy, is it, boys?
I'm going to start screening these things soon. I'm telling you. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to screen them, and they're going to be good, okay?
Okay, you're taunting everybody. You're going to be the most amazing called screener. We believe you, Stugotz.
I just like to have fun with the callers.
My father yesterday, because he believes that everyone watches him on television, my father was meeting the Carnival CEO, Carnival Cruise Line CEO was coming over and held out a hand to shake his hand. And my father took his hand and pulled his own hand back and scratched his ear, thinking that this person was doing that because they were a follower of the show. And of course, that person immediately thought, is that a coronavirus joke that
Yeah,
you're
man.
making?
Yeah, I was going to say, it must not be easy being the CEO of Carnival Cruise Lines in this sort of climate.
You know what I mean, though? Like, that was, so my father, who, you know, is perpetually embarrassing me, that's a terrible joke to make. On,
Nah,
you
he
know,
got him.
the stock market is crashing.
Right.
Cruise lines are taking an enormous hit. There is a frenzy around here. Everyone's losing tons of money. Like, America was leaking money this morning. And my father, as ships won't be allowed on our land, is sitting there appearing to the CEO to make a disease joke.
Doesn't get any better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You see what I mean now about being a bad call screener? I mean, do you see? You see it?
You know what, Stugotz? Please sit over there. Chris, come sit over
I'm
here.
going to chum it up.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Let's see what Stugotz can do as a call screener. I got to get a call on the air here, Stugotz, at some point.
Listen, do you want the calls to be good, Dano, or do you want them to be bad?
All right,
I mean,
I
that's
will
what
wait
call
you
screening's
out.
all about.
All right, I will wait you out. Go ahead.
Whoa! What you got? What you got? What you got?
You're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Mike. Christ almighty, Stugotz.
Yeah, I
I'm
got
going
one.
to throw you into the ocean myself. Many listeners are correcting us and yelling at us, saying that was not an original song, that he was singing Chuck Berry's My Ding-a-Ling, and that none of us noticed
I
it.
knew that. I couldn't tell you, though. You kicked me out.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save pay an average of $796 less per year. Michael Doleac, 12:30 Eastern on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
I'm a little nervous.
You should be. Here's your Sports Center update.
We've got nothing to play for him so far. On Friday, I was like, okay, it was kind of funny. We had my neck, my back, my Michael Doleac.
That was the best one.
We had a nice little payoff. And then Sunday rolled around. I'm like, is this funny? I don't know if this is funny. And here we are on Monday, and we got nothing to show for it.
Nothing so far. 1 hour of work, nothing to show for it.
Here's your Sports Center update. The BNP Paribas Open Tennis Tournament. I was asking there. Okay, Paribas it is set to begin this week. It was canceled after a case of the new coronavirus was confirmed in the Coachella Valley in Southern California. Giannis Antetokounmpo will be out at least 2 games due to a sprained knee sustained Friday night versus the Lakers. And finally, the Texas-based makers of Tito's handmade vodka issued an unusual statement in response to a customer's comment. Do not use vodka as hand sanitizer. In a tweet, the brand said, per the CDC, hand sanitizer needs to contain at least 60% alcohol. Tito's handmade vodka is 40% alcohol and therefore does not meet the current recommendation of the CDC.
There are so many people gouging prices on that hand sanitizer. It is crazy what is happening all around the world and what is happening in our country, where I had somebody tell me that they spent $100 on Amazon just buying a big sort of vat of hand sanitizer.
That's what I'm selling it for on Amazon, yeah.
Still, it's like weird, though. Sports is trying to figure this out. Like, for instance, in the Premier League, they said, all right, no more pregame handshakes. And then you watch them play a full contact sport, and everyone's hugging after the match. It seems a little counterintuitive, no?
It's a natural reaction, though, after a sporting event, right?
Yeah, but they're not doing the pregame handshake.
Right.
But post-match, everybody's hugging each other.
I understand that, but the pregame handshake feels manufactured. The postgame thing is just something that you do because you've been doing it forever. It's a sign of respect, I feel like.
I just don't understand, like, okay, eliminate the handshakes, but continue playing a game?
Your point is well taken. I'm not real sure
following.
why Stugotz needs it made 3 or 4 times. I don't know why he did that.
Sports radio, Dan. Where do you need a Blink security camera? On your porch to help protect deliveries, helping keeping your family safe when you travel, alerting you when the kids get home from school. Where do you need Blink security cameras? Visit blinkprotect.com/Dan today. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Eric Reids, the outspoken NFL safety, has had his attorneys look over the CBA proposal because you got to imagine that most of these guys aren't going to want to read 456 pages of legal jargon that is muddied and confusing. I mean, and it's not because I'm assuming athletes are dopes. It's because who the hell wants to read 456 pages of that? Everybody's going to want the cliff notes on that. Would you like to hear what his attorneys have told him? Because he posted their findings on Twitter. He asked his attorneys to read the proposal.
Sure, would love to hear it.
So we have reviewed the 456-page proposed collective bargaining agreement in detail. This proposal disproportionately empowers ownership, disproportionately enriches ownership, and disproportionately burdens the players with the risks of the 10-year proposal. At this critical time, excuse me, I just lost where it is here. I'm going to have to find it again because I've misplaced it now.
You want to go to a Doleac song in the meantime?
I don't really want to do that. No, I don't. I'm
Imagine having to read 456 pages.
I know. I can't even read 2 paragraphs. Just suffice it to say that they don't like it, and they're suggesting that the players vote no because player safety isn't at the top of the list. And evidently the owners are allowing themselves some wiggle room, according to these attorneys, on how many games to add.
You don't really see known players come out in favor of this. I know Ryan Fitzpatrick was one of the few that did that. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Marquise Pouncey and Eric Reid and even Aaron Rodgers to a degree. But I think a lot of the people that are fighting for some of this, like the added roster spots, the increased protections for the practice squatters, I think a lot of the players that are seeing some of the star players say, no, hey, let's not sign that, are like, but you have like a 10-year NFL career, and I might be playing in the XFL next season. No, this is good for me. And I really wonder
but that's
how many...
exactly why it's structured that way. It's to divide the union between the Aaron Rodgers who are saying, no, I won't vote for that, and the guys. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is divide the union.
Well, the owners are smart. They're playing to the majority is what they're doing. They're pleasing the majority because the minority is Aaron Rodgers. The majority is those 65% of the players who are back-end players who are going to play 3.5 years and need that money right now. And that's why it's easy for the owners to get these things done.
Yeah, you get like the Kirby Dardars of the world that are just like practice squatters for 3 years, and Russell Wilson just like strolls into a meeting. Like, get out of here. I'm Kirby Dardar. You're Russell Wilson. Our vote count's the same.
When's the last
I'm Kirby
time?
Dardar.
When's the last time Kirby Dardar played an NFL game? Now, I understand you were. I know he's a good player.
Heck of a special teamer.
Okay,
he had some moments.
No, I think he broke his collarbone in one of those XFL scrums.
I like what you did there. I like that you summoned the name Kirby Dardar. There aren't a lot you could have chosen from that would have been sing-song funnier in terms of an anonymous football name. But that Stugotz would say good player after that. Let's go ahead and recap the career of Kirby Dardar, shall we?
What he did on special teams doesn't show up on a stat line.
I am seconds away from requesting Kirby Dardar songs.
Are you really? Very exciting. Let me check out Kirby Dardar's stats.
I think he played for the New York, New Jersey Hitmen of the XFL.
Played for the Dolphins 95, 96, and 98. Never started a game. Returned 8 total kicks for 154 yards, no touchdowns. That's Kirby Dardar's career. Had some moments.
Thank you. Had some moments is slightly different than good player. What is it that you guys wanted to say about the Brooklyn Nets and what happened there with the firing of their coach? That one, did anyone have that one? Did anyone see that one coming? Like that's...
Yeah.
I was blindsided, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this happening eventually. The real twist was that it happened before, Kevin Durant joined the team and while Kyrie Irving was out for the year. I didn't see that. I mean, this Kyrie Irving, he's a special kind of coach killer. It's incredible. And now the leaks have already started that he wants Ty Lue as the head coach.
Oh, wow.
Why are you letting Kyrie Irving decide anything?
All right. Well, that's the question right there. Why is Kyrie Irving, who has won exactly nothing, deciding who the next head coach is going to be?
He has won. I mean, he won a title.
Yeah. This is a preemptive attack.
LeBron won it for him.
This is preemptive.
He had the biggest shot in the season.
He only took that shot because LeBron put him there.
He wants Ty Lue because he knows at some point LeBron's going to get tired of Vogel, so he wants Lue locked up so LeBron can't get him. That's exactly what's going on here.
He seems like a fairly destructive force, Kyrie Irving. And I can only go off of, what he's done in the places that he's been since. But this seems to be a pretty hefty indictment on him as just like a coworker.
It's a good job. A coach is about to get a really good job.
He's considered a good coach. He did a really good job last year, Kenny Atkinson.
Well, Durant said that the reason that he went there was because of the scheme and his philosophies. So they fire him before Durant gets to play a game for him?
What was it? Was it a mutual parting of ways, or is this a straight up canning?
I think it was mutual. They gave him the mutual.
Yeah, they gave him mutual, but he gets all his money, I hope, for him. Mutual, if that's the messaging, then this is Kenny Atkinson, I guess, putting it out there that like there's things here that are bigger than what's going on the court.
Let me read some more from this.
You found it.
Yes, thank you, Stugotz. No thanks to you, I might add, because you're checking the stock market while I'm sitting here trying to do the show. Roy,
Kirby Dardar.
Yeah, Roy, you already found those stats. You already gave them to us. You spoke. Your speaking time was over, and then you went to checking the stock market.
You know, he spent the entire 97 season on injured reserve for the hitman Kirby Dardar.
Oh,
he
wow.
absolutely got hurt in one of those scrums for the football.
At this critical time, players must demand their health, money, data, and dignity be respected and truly valued. Instead, players are being misled, taken from, and left vulnerable. The attached fact sheet outlines key points that are fundamental to understand before voting. The proposal: add games at the discretion of the owners, reduces player safety benefit, guts disability benefits, and reduces civil rights while giving greater than the majority of revenue and benefit to the owners. It is our view the players should vote no to the proposal. Player safety is worth more. The voting is coming Thursday, and I am curious. Eric Winston, the president of the Players Union, is saying that he expects it to pass because of what it is that Stugotz is saying. You've got a divided union, and you got a whole lot of players who don't have money. You got more players who don't have money and who have short career spans and are a little bit scared about future earnings and during an athletic prime, and it's absolutely the thing that you take advantage of if you're these owners.
Kind of weird timing that they're electing a new president this week and voting's expected to happen Thursday. Maybe it's perfect timing, but in terms of getting everybody on the same page, that would seem to be difficult for newly elected officials, right?
The best in the business, Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
This isn't a new thing for our show. We've always had the hottest beats. Remember Mr. Mix?
Dan Le Batard got the game on live. Dan's doing hot, got the game on live. Dade County boys got the game on live.
What's the matter, man?
There's just no way to do that well. It's just, we are not hip-hop. We are not cool. We are not. What the hell is that?
You're my decoy.
If you missed any of our interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard podcast, brought to you by Capital One. With Capital One, you can open a new checking or savings account with no fees or minimums. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Approval required. Capital One NA, member FDIC. Dan, it's time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless.
Ariel Helwani will join us in 10 minutes. An epic fight this weekend, a controversially awful fight this weekend. Dana White was pretty upset with Yoel Romero, even though I wasn't clear on who actually won that fight. I'm a little nervous about these calls because our Michael Doleac experience has not gone as well the second time as it did the first time.
Why was Dana upset with Romero?
For not attacking more because it was a passive fight. Let's get the Dana White sound on that. Thank you for asking, Stugotz.
Yeah, I feel like Yoel Romero, he literally went out and stood in the middle of when the bell rang in the first round, just stood there with his hands up. You know what I mean? You're going in and facing the world champion. This is your last shot at a championship. You shouldn't even be here getting this title fight. It should be Paulo Costa. If he didn't get hurt, you don't even get this opportunity. You go in and you do everything you can to win that fight. He literally did none of that.
Dana also, it wasn't just an effort thing that he was questioning. What about the chances that Romero ever gets another title fight?
A path back to the title after that performance? I mean, you're crazy even asking that question right now. He looked terrible tonight. He looked terrible. He literally gave up an opportunity tonight. Maybe he comes back in his next fight and looks like Yoel Romero. But if he doesn't, I wouldn't expect him to fight another 10 years looking like that.
It was great, Stugotz, watching the male fighters around the octagon awed by what the women did. Awed by, and I know some people are going to correct when you say the best women's fight ever. Some people will say one of the best fights ever. You don't have to say it's women, but I do believe you do have to say that it's the best women's fight you've ever seen when that same Dana White said women would never fight in his sport. And it wasn't even that long ago that he was saying that. What is it, even 5 years ago, 6 years ago? It's not that long ago that Dana White said that that women would not fight in his sport. And not only did they fight, the men fighting embarrassed him. The men fighting for the title embarrassed Dana White. Like, he is savaging Yoel Romero. Because the reason he's doing it is because, hey, we're on ESPN Plus. I want to sell this to the masses. You've got to fight. You've got to get in there and fight. This is when Dana gets most upset after these fights, when the fights are not entertaining because the end of your night ends up being disappointed. You feel like you've been cheated out of something when the last fight, the big fight of the night, isn't any good, doesn't reach any level of anticipation. And the women were just amazing.
Yeah, normally a tough act to follow. Your Jacek and Zhang had one of the great title fights of all time. The injury on your Jacek's head, the swelling on her head. She apparently got the all clear to leave the hospital. It looked like her skull was fractured.
It was crazy how much her forehead inflated. She did not look like the same person from the beating she took.
She did a lot of talking in that weigh-in, jawing in a way that you don't really see, certainly for women's weigh-ins. And Zhang played it really cool, and it looked like someone was going to be hurting after that. They both were. They both went to the hospital after that fight. A classic fight.
Dana said that back in 2011.
Yeah,
All right.
They're starting to put fights now in the UFC Hall of Fame. That was a Hall of Fame fight between your Jacek and Zhang.
Santos, you're on ESPN
no.
Radio. Go ahead, Santos.
I
marked that one.
Good.
Forever.
Juju Gotti, you're on ESPN Radio. What you got, Juju?
Micah to the Doleac.
That is Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk
I'm really
Wireless.
worried about this. We're an hour away from Michael Doleac, and we're not going to have very much
just
to
gonna
give
be
him.
us interviewing
I am
Doleac.
very scared about this. We got to do better, people. 786-456-4837. Ariel Helwani next.
There is nothing better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Ariel Helwani going to join us in just a second on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Talk some UFC, maybe some NBA. Here's your SportsCenter update. The BNP Paribas Open tennis tournament, set to begin this week, was canceled after a case of the new coronavirus was confirmed in the Coachella Valley in Southern California. Giannis Antetokounmpo will be out at least 2 games due to a sprained knee sustained Friday night versus the Lakers. And finally, a Sri Lankan author was awarded a Guinness World Record after enlisting the help of the country's children to write a book with 1,250 alternative endings. Sybil Westashog, no idea, enlisted the help of students from all across the country to contribute writings, drawings, and poetry to complete the story in her book. Wonder Crystal, which received a total of about 20,000 submissions. SportsCenter brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 in 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and get free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So Ariel Helwani is the voice of MMA. We bring him in now. Thank you for joining us to talk about a giant and classic fight between the women. And it is fairly amazing to be in a place where in 2020, after Dana White said in 2011 that women would never fight in his sport, where you got Yang and Young Chaychik, and I'm going to struggle with her name sometimes, but Joanna Young Jacek having a fight for the ages. Ariel, thank you for joining us. Who did you think won that fight? You thought that was the right decision?
Dan, nice to speak to you again. Stugotz, everyone, nice to speak to you guys. Should I address the elephant in the room now or at the end of this conversation?
Which elephant in the room? Me? You're addressing me right now.
Well, there I was in late January, very nervous for my NBA sidelines gig, and I was told that I have to drop a line. Not only do I drop the line, I drop it like within the first 5 words, and I get no recognition. I get no thank you. I get no pat on the back on the air. And I feel like this is a problem. I feel like this is something that needs to be addressed.
Well, we did play it, and let's play it again for him. He did indeed drop, did it very early when they were asked.
I didn't hear this.
Yes, we did. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry
that you didn't hear it, but Ariel, you're operating off of some incorrect information. We gave you plenty of love here on the show.
We did. You got a lot of love. You're complaining.
I asked Parakeet Cortez. He said they didn't mention me once. None of you guys mentioned me, and I was very upset.
I don't understand why Ryan Cortez would lie to you like that.
Spent the whole show on you.
In fact, we said that you established a new high water mark when you did this.
Yeah, guys, as you know, the Clippers are championship contenders, but they've been a little up and down this season. So, as the resident MMA expert around these parts, I have taken it upon myself to compare them to some of the best fighters in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Perhaps they'll find some inspiration from this. This is a very important conversation. I'm glad that we're having it. Now,
you got a lot of credit from us for that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so listen, I got bad info. Mea culpa. I'm sorry.
Well, you came in aggressively, unlike Yoel Romero. So help us with the scoring on the. I mean, neither one of those women deserved to lose that fight.
No, it was phenomenal. It honestly was. Now that I've had a couple of days to think about it, initially on Saturday I said it was the greatest female title fight ever in UFC history, but honestly now it's starting to creep into the conversation for greatest fight period, regardless of gender. It was just so amazing because they were going back and forth. They were in the pocket the entire time. No one relented. It really, as great as that fight was, the main event was equally as bad, unfortunately. In the end, though, I did score it in favor of Zhang Weili. I thought she won 3 rounds to 2, 48-47, but it's not one of those. I saw some people calling it a robbery. Get out of here. The only people calling that fight a robbery are the ones who probably bet on Joanna, who is a slight underdog going into the fight. That was not a robbery. It was just a supremely close fight.
Is there anything that will make Dana White rip a fighter afterward than having a boring fight?
Yeah, especially in the main event, because obviously I was just listening to you guys earlier. There's so much anticipation, so much build-up. It's on the marquee. This reminded me, and this is probably the most upset I've ever seen him. Back in April of 2010, they had their very first event in Abu Dhabi. It was in the desert, their first outdoor event. And They had just been purchased. 10% of the UFC had been purchased by the Abu Dhabi government, believe it or not. And so all these important sheiks were sitting in the front row. And Anderson Silva fought Damian Maia for the middleweight title, same belt that was on the line in the main event. And Anderson just didn't fight. He was kind of like Romero in the fight on Saturday. Just did not fight. Won the belt. Dana left in the middle of the main event, took the belt and threw it on Anderson's manager's lap and said, "You put the belt on him." I'd never seen him so upset afterwards. So when I think of how mad he was on that night 10 years ago, and I thought, and I see how he was on Saturday, not equally as mad. But yeah, that one didn't live up to the hype. It was disappointing, and we just kind of move on from it.
Nothing more likely to set him off, right? Where he will just rip a fighter, because that's not. Like, I understand some guys embarrass him, and he's certainly outspoken. Some guys, their behavior embarrasses him, or they have criminal acts. I just don't think anything bothers him as much. Like, Dana White's not a fighter. For him to disrespect someone with the courage to get into the octagon with that kind of terminology is the voice of an angry businessman.
It is. And can I throw out maybe an unpopular opinion on this Monday morning? I wasn't all that offended by the fight for a couple of reasons. Like, when I was in school, they used to show something called a Venn diagram. You know what a Venn diagram is? Like the two circles, and then there's the thing in the middle. So if you look at MMA like a Venn diagram, one of the circles is entertainment, the other circle is sport, and then hopefully when the nights are great, Zhang Wei Li, Ioane Jacek, they meet in the middle and you get something magical where sport and entertainment come together. Sometimes the entertainment side just doesn't want to come over to the sports side. But I have no issue whatsoever with what Israel Adesanya did in that fight. The most significant punch landed in that fight was in the first round. Romero cracked him, and he said, "Screw this. I'm just going to attack the legs. Why should I engage with this guy?" I feel very strongly that when you look at a fight, I hate when people say, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. No, that's not how fights are scored. However, it is incumbent upon the challenger to go into the land of the champion and take that belt away from him, bring the fight to him. It's not incumbent upon the champion to go ahead and knock out the challenger. He's defending his land. So I have no issue. People complaining or criticizing Adesanya on this Monday, they are completely wrong. He did exactly what he had to do, and unfortunately, the sport aspect just didn't creep into the entertainment aspect in that fight.
Ariel, I have a question about leg kicks in general. Watching the fight, I was like, I got really frustrated. Now I'm Cuban, for the record, and Yoel Romero I was rooting for in that fight, and I actually kind of thought he won. Certainly not unanimous decision, and then it was made aware to me that, but look at his leg, it looks like picadillo. So I saw that, and I'm like, man, we put so much stock on these leg kicks. What is it about the leg kick that does so well in scoring, and do we overvalue it?
No, not at all. In fact, it's supremely important because, first of all, when you think of a guy like Romero, let's take Romero and his sort of style, right? It affects the way you move. It affects the way you box. I mean, if you don't have your legs, that's really bad. But when you consider a guy with his wrestling pedigree, and I know he's been criticized for not using his wrestling later in his career, but let's not forget, this guy is a 2000 silver medalist in the Olympic Games, and he's very good when he wants to use his wrestling. If you don't have your legs, you can't shoot. You can't use them to push off, right? So
he's
I thought it was
50,
a brilliant
right?
game plan.
Yoel Romero is 50, correct?
That's the rumor. I mean, he's technically 42.
No, he's 50 years old. That's Cuban age.
way.
No. Put it on the poll.
Us here in Miami, it's just it raises our hackles.
He's 50 years old. He's not 42. Anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Which makes him all that more impressive, right? I mean, just look at him. He's chiseled. He's just a freak of nature. I was disappointed in this. First 90 seconds, what are we doing? Like you're just standing there. That was nothing. I don't even know what that was. His first strike that he threw and landed came at 2:37 of the first round. And I will say one thing. I don't agree with a lot of what Dana White said after that fight, but the one thing I did agree with, I should say, was this was his last chance. He's never getting a title shot ever again. He's already 0-3 in the title fight opportunities that he's been given by the UFC. He's 42 years old. Why didn't you go for it? Why didn't you go for broke? Because you hit really hard, and you could knock someone out like Israel Adesanya. What were you doing? What was going on there? And that, to me, is something that I think he's going to have to live with. And by the way, I don't disagree with people who scored in favor of him. I think you can make a very strong case that he won the first, second, and fifth round. I really do. But it was just so negligible that it was like 4 strikes to 3. What was that? That was just bizarre.
Ariel Helwani with us. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so let's do this. Sorry. No, that's okay. The women's fight that you were saying is among the best fights now you've ever seen, regardless of gender. What are the 3 best fights Ariel Helwani has ever seen?
Okay, so it's so funny. On Saturday, they actually announced that they are inducting one of these fights into the Hall of Fame in July. They have a Hall of Fame. It's not. It's more of like a wall of fame. It's not like a real Hall of Fame like in other sports. It's kind of just a thing that the UFC has been doing as of late. But my favorite fight of all time, what I consider to be the greatest fight in UFC history, is UFC 165, John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, 5-round fight in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Jones was unbelievable going into that fight. Just completely dominant, and we learned afterwards that he was partying all week in Toronto, driving an hour away from the hotel to go do God knows what, and said to himself as he was walking into the cage, I can't believe I'm about to lose this fight. Well, he dug down deep and won the fight. That was phenomenal. Shogun Rua against Dan Henderson is number 2, in my opinion. That was UFC 139 in San Jose, California. That was an incredible fight as well. So those are my top 2 favorites. And then there's one that I love that is probably not on many people's list, but UFC 65, George St. Pierre against Matt Hughes, when my guy from Montreal, George St. Pierre, won the belt. Those are my top 3 favorites of all time. But this is going to be in the conversation, no doubt about it. It was absolutely amazing.
How excited are you for Khabib Ferguson?
I'm very excited, but can I just be honest with you guys? And I'm going to whisper so it doesn't actually become a thing. I feel like this fight is somewhat cursed. I mean, I don't think that's a big statement to make because they've booked it 4 times in the past, and this is the 5th time. And I don't know if you've been reading the news as of late, but a lot of events are being canceled for some particular reason. And I just feel like there's a train going into the station here that is going to knock this thing out. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't want to actually put it into the ether, but I just have a very, very weird feeling about this all. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, we do.
Dan?
Check out his MMA show. It was not unclear, Ariel.
You didn't whisper either.
Ariel Helwani's
Sorry.
MMA show. Check it out. Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Time to justify our unreasonable salaries.
What was he trying to say, Dan?
Stugotz, Blink. Tell the people.
All right, Blink security cameras. Have them all over my house. Where do you need a Blink security camera? On your porch to help protect deliveries? That'd be nice. Helping keep your family safe when you travel, of course. How about alerting you when the kids get home from school? Very, very important. Blink cameras are motion activated. When they detect something, they send an alert and a video clip to your Blink smartphone app. And the Blink XD2 features 2-way talk. System start at just $79.99. An amazing deal. So, where do you need Blink cameras? I have them everywhere. Visit blinkprotect.com/Dan. Do it today. Again, just $79.99. Blinkprotect.com/Dan.
Mi familia, Dan and Stu will be back on ESPN.
Today is for doing, and today we celebrate Justin Robinson, the Admiral's son, who was a freshman walk-on in the 2016-17 season, set or matched career highs in minutes, points, three-pointers, assists, rebounds, and blocks in Duke's win over North Carolina on Saturday. The now senior's performance was so good that it left coach Mike Krzyzewski saying, "It's better than Rudy." He's wrong. It's almost like a movie. Duke won to the ACC tournament as a 4 seed. Today is for doing, and it's brought to you by the Home Depot with everything you need to do projects smarter, faster, and easier. Welcome to today's Home Depot. How doers get more done.
I have to be honest with the audience, with America. Today's show has not been very good, and I'll tell you the reason. It's because I'm scared of what's going to happen at 12:30 with Michael Doleac. I have no confidence.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. We've been taking these Doleac songs, and none of them have been any good. And I got fake Tony Fiorentino ready to sing something.
I need to hear that now.
I'm scared of that. But also, as an added bonus, Mike is wanting to debut a new segment, and all I've heard about the segment is him blistering the side of Chris Cody's face with the comment, "This is the worst thing you've ever done." Mike Ryan just...
Degree of difficulty, though,
He
man.
just buried Chris Cody. So let's get to that first before I get to any more Doleac songs. Stugotz's funniest thing of the sports weekend is Stugotz and his weekend observations are coming up in 10 minutes.
Yep.
But at 12:30, we will have the funniest thing from the sports weekend.
We have Doleac, though.
Well, we're going to sneak it in there.
Maybe he can take part in it.
Maybe he can take part in it.
It's looking like we're going to need some more for that
I'm not
segment.
sure we're going to have Doleac at 12:30. Right now, we do not have enough songs to play for Doleac. We're going to be wasting his time. And speaking of terrible songs,
here's a story of a man named Brady who's a fan of playing with deflated balls. He may be just as old as your grandfather, but his forehead's smooth. Here's a story of a ham named Stugotz who just makes his sports takes up as he goes. No consistency or repercussions to the lament of Dan.
Oof.
Till the one day when the show was starved for content and they knew they were under a ratings crunch. That's how most our bits come to fruition. That's the way we all began the Brady Hunch. The Brady Hunch. The Brady Hunch. That's the way we began the Brady Hunch.
I have less confidence now.
Oh, Dano, it is the Brady Hunch. This is a daily segment. We've been doing it for weeks around here on the Le Batard Show. You're familiar with it. We are just 1 week away from TB Day. How about that? 1 week away from TB Day. And, Dan, you know how I like to do it here on the Brady Hunch? I like to get your hunches. I put them all into a pot, and then I reveal my hunch at the end of the segment. So, Dan, do you have a Brady Hunch today?
This is such a bad idea.
What's your Brady Hunch, Dan? Come on. Quit fighting.
What's your Brady Hunch? Everyone's got a Brady Hunch, Dan. I don't care who you are.
Brady Hunch.
What's your Brady Hunch, Dan?
Dan, you always kick us off.
A lot of news over the weekend. I mean,
I'll go 49ers because it's just the most fun.
Wow. That's his Brady. Do you have a reason or just a hunch?
I said the reason, but you were too busy going, wow.
Oh, that's part of the segment, Dano. Chris, do you have a Brady Hunch?
I have to admit, I'm leaning Dolphins.
Wow.
Dolphins?
Wow. Interesting. Hold on. Let me
never
throw
know.
that into the bowl here.
Dolphins? Are you
We
kidding
just got
me?
a minute here. Billy, do you have a Brady
He's in
Hunch?
win now mode. He's 42. He's older than
I got a
Joel
hunch. You can't
Romero.
get
I'm in. Get your hunches
Never
now,
push
Mo,
back
because we got a
on
minute to
someone
go.
else's hunch.
Let's go.
Charlie Weiss was on Golic and Wingo this morning, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern, guys, and he said Brady still hasn't decided, but I feel like he's leaning on going back to New England.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's also
Wow.
my hunch.
Wow.
And my hunch is he's going to Las Vegas.
Wow.
Okay, but we all know the tradition. Stugotz' hunch is always right.
So I take your hunches, I put them all into a bowl, I mix them all up, I combine it with the news I saw over the weekend. I saw the Dallas Dak Prescott news. I also saw a tweet from Tom Brady that said nobody knows anything. I look deep into that tweet. I look at the K in no. K, Kyle Shanahan.
Wow, your hunches agree?
My hunch agrees with Dan's hunch that as of today, Tom Brady is headed to the San Francisco 49ers.
We are not doing this every day. We are not. We will not.
The Brady Hunch.
Ah, buddy, this is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your Sports Center update. In women's college basketball, Iowa State defeated number 2 Baylor 57-56, snapping Baylor's 58-game Big 12 regular season winning streak. It was the 6th longest in NCAA history. The Nets on Saturday announced that the team and head coach Kenny Atkinson have mutually agreed to part ways. DeAndre Jordan is disputing reports that linked Atkinson's departure to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, saying, quote, whatever the reports are bull bleep. And finally, a population of hippopotami is called a bloat. I get that right?
Dan?
Where do you need Blink security cameras? On your porch to help protect deliveries? Helping keeping your family safe when you travel? How about alerting you when the kids get home from school? Where do you need Blink security cameras? Visit blinkprotect.com/Dan today. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Straight off the resounding success of the debut of the Brady Hunch.
Oh, it's great.
Here are Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Did you get the Brady Hunch? You understand what we were doing there, right?
No, explain.
And why we call it the Brady Hunch?
No, explain to me the layer.
There was a show back in the 70s, 80s called the Brady Bunch. Perhaps you're familiar with it. Mike Brady, Pete Brady, Greg Brady, the Brady Bunch, right?
Yeah.
We call this the Brady Hunch. Bobby Brady, Cindy Brady, Jan,
Alice,
Marsha, and Sam the Butcher.
Torrid affair with Alice.
Whoa! Spoiler alert. Weekend observations brought to you by Vivid Seats. Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code ESPN25 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat. Dan, after announcing that he will skip the Players' Championship, it is safe to say Tiger's bad back is back. Dan, I tried, and I simply cannot stop touching my face. I just can't do it.
I know.
Can you?
It's very hard. It's very hard to do.
Can you come up with another way? I mean, I can't stop touching it. And the more I think about not touching it, the more I touch it. That's the problem. For whatever reason, this March doesn't feel as mad as previous Marches. Aaron Rodgers said he's unsure if players are actually looking at the CBA. Aaron, let me remove any doubt. They are not. Sensitive, quirky, conniving, and can't win titles on their own. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are a match made in heaven. Dan, the reason me and Mike get excited over every transaction is Avery Bradley. See what he did yesterday?
He had a nice game.
He's big. The third guy, third option.
Contributor.
Yep, big contributor. Saravino. Did I get that right? Out for the season. Judge, out indefinitely. Stanton gets hurt anytime the wind blows. Dan, you know what the Yankees continue to be?
A mash unit.
They continue to be a mash unit, Dan. Well done. I think at this point, it's safe to say the jury is still out on Judge. What? 3 of them. Excessive. If the Knicks are smart, Kenny Atkinson will become their next head coach by the end of the day. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant getting Kenny Atkinson fired. Dan, you most certainly know what that means.
Coach killers?
It means the inmates are running the asylum. Utah State stunned San Diego State over the weekend to win the Mountain West Conference. Dan, you know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
Really, Dan? Slow weekend for you. It means that Utah State punched the ticket.
To the dance.
Yes, Dan, to the dance. The big dance. Yeah, they're going dancing, Dan. Yeah. But this March, not as mad as previous Marches. Doesn't feel as angry, does it?
I mean, that game was a buzzer beater. That was a stunner. What more do you want?
San Diego State not to be, beating them, not being a stunner.
Now, and Davidson, you don't like that Davidson's good. Stugotz needs the big programs to be
Dayton,
good.
the Flyers are going to be a 1 seed.
I'm sorry, I meant Dayton. I said Davidson.
Right, that's all right, fine. I have an announcement. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this Kyrie Irving character. His teams are never good when he's the number one guy. Teams actually seem to get better when he leaves them. Yeah, he hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history, but was only in that position because of LeBron James. Kyrie Irving, in my personal record book, you did hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history. That won everyone on that team a ring except for you.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
Yes, a little revision to the Stugotz personal record book that maybe someday I'll come around to writing. Or Mike will. Coach K said the story of his own Justin Robinson was a better story than Rudy. Robinson started against Carolina, had 13 points, 4 threes, 4 blocks. It wasn't the first time he played. It wasn't even the first time he started a game. He's the son of NBA great David Robinson, and he's not white. Coach K clearly hasn't seen Rudy, the Admiral. Coach K saying that Justin Robinson's story was better than Rudy. No, just no. In fact, you can't spell no without the K. Mark Jackson on Chris Paul. Great leader, great winner, great competitor. Mark, 3 questions. What has he ever led? What has he ever won? And the only time his team needed him to compete, he did it.
That's not a question.
I guess that was 2 questions and a fact. LeBron James, do it in the postseason. A player on the 4-0 Houston Roughnecks wrote on a dry erase board, 4-0, who's next? Player, take a guess, and you have a 1-in-7 shot of being right. Wildcats, Vipers, Classic, Sunday night shootout in the XFL. Other commissioners, take notes from Oliver Luck and drink beers with your fans. Adam Schefter said if you're an NFL fan, buckle up for the next 2 weeks. Adam, consider me buckled. Nice to see Charlie Weiss finally has a new job as Tom Brady's mouthpiece. Not as good as his old job, where he was paid just under $19 million by Notre Dame to not do his job. But it was a job, nonetheless. Not touching your face is harder than quitting cigarettes. This is not your father.
Put
What
it on the
happened?
poll, Guillermo. Put it on at Lebatard Show. Is not touching your face
I just touched it again.
tougher than quitting cigarette?
This is not your father's March Madness. Better than the Rudy story, Coach K. More like Coach K? It's with a Q.
Oh, that was a little Spanish. Eh?
Eh? Can it be March Madness when beating San Diego State is considered a huge upset? Coach K, executive producer of a movie called Justin, Collision Course. Better than the Rudy story. Dan, you know what the K in Coach K stands for?
No.
Crazy. Lakers and Clippers did not have the feeling of a regular season game. You know what it had, Dan?
Playoff field.
Yeah, Dan. Haven't checked. How's small ball working out for the Rockets? It's going well.
Not well.
Tom Brady tweeted out, no one knows anything. Tom was obviously as outraged as I was about the Coach K remarks regarding Rudy. Flyers, Flames, Lord Stanley, Collision Course. In 2018, the Jets signed cornerback Tremaine Johnson to a 5-year, $72.5 million deal. Today, they cut him. Hell of a contract. Speaking of hell, Art Pryles. Dan, those are the weekend observations. 72 and a half.
Pay that man his money.
Cut him today.
We have one more segment for you guys to not make me feel profound shame I have feared all show. Michael Doleac's going to join us at 12:30 Eastern. I don't feel like we have enough good songs to play for him. Hopefully we'll have some more in the next segment.
Maybe he's got a Brady hunch.
Advance Auto Parts. Are you looking for a new battery? Look no further than Advance Auto Parts. Here's Stugotz to tell you more.
You may not be able to run, throw, or catch like a professional athlete, but now that it's spring, you can get your lawn looking like a professional sports field. Yes, you can, assuming your lawn gear will start, that is. Stop by Advance Auto Parts. They'll test your lawn and garden battery for free if it needs to be replaced. They have Autocraft lawn and garden batteries starting at just $22.99. It's a bargain. Plus, enter the code DAN20 when you buy online to save 20%. That's DAN20 when you buy online. Think ahead. Think advance. Only at Advance Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Sweaty Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I am signing that guy sight unseen. How about that?
Who is it, though?
Oh, I was going to say the scooter. It was the scooter, though. There's two scooters, Scootero and Rizzuto. How about that?
What just happened to you?
Well, you know what? The scooter is Scootero. I puffered for a second to make sure it was, and somehow I don't know. So, things were going through my head like those weird commercials they used to do for the dollar
Wait a
store or
minute.
something.
You just backtracked on, you weren't sure it was the scooter? Is that what happened? There was a glitch in the system.
And then there's Scooter Gannett. I mean, these scooters can get confusing sometimes. Dan.
Why and how did the record skip? What happened? Why did the record scratch on?
He's got a dial-up connection. He's working with what he can.
And our Best of podcast on demand in the ESPN app. And subscribe to the Batard and Friends podcast network featuring South Beach Sessions, Stupidity, and Mystery Crate. Please rate and subscribe. New episodes posted every week wherever you get your podcasts.
So Barry Bonds had some comments to The Athletic in the Bay Area. He says, quote, "I know what I did out there. I know what I accomplished between those lines. It's outside the lines that I would have done some things differently." And he said he's gotten a death sentence from baseball. And the gentleman who wrote the article writes the following: "A lot of comments on this story, and thank you to those who read it, including new subscribers. Not disagreeing with those who have zero stomach for Bonds, but maybe consider this. What is he supposed to think when he sees A-Rod on a national major league broadcast every 10 seconds?" And totally rehabbed A-Rod doing TikTok in an elevator, swapping clothes with J-Lo.
Right.
It is, if you're Barry Bonds, like, to whomever it is that you would think is most bothered by A-Rod's resurrection, I think Barry Bonds has to be pretty high on the list.
Most certainly he does, but A-Rod is not in the place that Bonds wants to be at, which is the Hall of Fame. A-Rod's still not there, and we don't know if A-Rod's going to make it there. I mean, they're both deserving, but we don't know if either will get
But Barry
there.
Bonds is talking about being blackballed from baseball, like that. Or the only job he could get was at like a hitting coach for the Marlins for one season.
Right, but if Bonds wanted to step into a broadcast booth, don't you think he'd be welcomed inside someone's broadcast
Stugotz,
booth?
the San Francisco Giants tore up their whole stadium that they built with the home runs he was hitting just so that they didn't have to welcome him back. He's not wrong when he says he's been blackballed. I don't know what to do about this, Mike, because I am dreading Michael Doleac in 10 minutes now because we don't have enough good songs to play for him. So I'm just gonna bang.
Fine. We got 4 good ones, Dano.
I'm just gonna bang through some calls here.
You need them.
Nick, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Nick.
Mackie D is not my center. He's just a man who gets the ball back to Shaq. And his name is Doleac.
We are in trouble, man.
Yeah, but we'll take that one. I mean, we need something.
No, we won't take that
We
one.
won't.
I
Okay.
reject that one.
All right.
Jeremiah, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, swish. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, swish. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, swish. Throw 'em up till I lose count. I'm gonna pass to Michael Doleac. Michael Doleac. He's gonna shoot like the defense doesn't exist. Like it doesn't exist.
Just leave me alone. Just don't. Just,
You control when he leaves you alone. You know that.
yeah, I was trying to give him
That
a
was
chance.
Sia. Are you familiar with that song?
Ben.
Playing that back, or
Ben, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Ben.
Return to Doleac. You know that he's not whack. It's Michael Doleac. And he's taking it to the rack. Return to Doleac. I think he played with Shaq. That's Michael Doleac. And he never smokes the crack.
Oh, no.
Man, we'll take it. We'll take it.
With Doleac.
I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'll take it.
You can't prove that he did.
Mike, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. All right.
a Michael Doleac. Bump, bump, bump. He's not born in 81, but he could be a Mormon. A Michael Doleac. Bump, 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 bump. He's not born in 81, but he could be Croatian. A Michael Doleac. Bump.
That's enough of that.
Really?
You wanna see
Just
where that
getting
was going?
good. I mean,
I didn't
just
even
getting
want to
good.
follow
The
that.
chorus
We're
was
taking to
coming
the
in.
bridge.
Fake Tony Fiorentino. Fake Tony Fiorentino. You're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Look at this Doleac. Every time I do it, makes me laugh. How did his skin get so wet? Kaboom! And what the hell did Elwick just say?
I am sorry, America.
I marked that one.
I am just sorry that I
Good
did
call,
any
Bill.
of this. I want to. What am I going to do with Michael Doleac now in 10 minutes? I've got nothing to play for him.
Got some more prospects on the line here. I mean, come
No,
on.
those people were holding for 2 hours.
It's a numbers game.
They're
man.
clogging up the line. They're clogging up the line. Billy, you have been a disgrace. It's a call screener. Like, how did those get past you? Any one of them. How did any of them get past
I
you?
think I saved 7 for him so far.
Those were the best of the best.
Michael Doleac. He never smokes a crack.
That was good.
Chris, this is real vindication for you as a call screener.
I feel bad for Billy. It's a hard thing to do. And they sound good when you're in your ear.
All
You're
right,
like,
you
oh,
know
this
what?
could work.
Stugotz said he's going to handle this. So Stugotz is about to go be the call screener. Michael Doleac's going to join us next. 786-456-4837. Michael Doleac joins us next. We'll see if Stugotz can save us.
Give me more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Pause up, Butch. So, what do you think this game realistically does for the program?
Yeah, you know, Bill, it's a great question. And I told somebody, I think I made this statement in the press conference after the game.
Hey, Matt, hold on a second. I have to do a Sports Center update, okay? Yeah, hold on. Just hold on a second. All right. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Michael Doleac going to be there in just a minute. Exciting. I think we have some good songs. I mean, this is difficult. Which means you guys are bad at this.
Oh, no.
We'll see. I mean, that Joe Cocker one. Here's your SportsCenter update. Sources have said the Cowboys had offered Dak Prescott a contract worth $33 million per year and more than $100 million guaranteed in an effort to kickstart negotiations. The deadline to apply the franchise tag is Thursday. In women's college basketball, Iowa State defeated number 2 Baylor 57-56. Snapping Baylor's 58-game Big 12 regular season winning streak. It was the 6th longest in NCAA history. And finally, NBA 2K20 added a 15-year-old to its game roster as part of the Make-A-Wish program. The boy, who was sadly born with a genetic disorder that made it impossible for him to play sports like other kids his age, is the first non-NBA player to be authentically scanned into the game with his own likeness and even custom dance move. That is a great job by NBA 2K. SportsCenter brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 in 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So I feel like interviewing Michael Doleac about his career because I'm scared of how this call situation is going to end up going with him. Stugotz doesn't seem to have a whole lot of confidence back there in the calls that he has screened.
I have confidence in 4 out of the 5, okay? Line 2 is not a call that I screened, okay? But the other 4 are ones that I screened, and I feel pretty confident. Pretty
Okay,
confident.
So
yes.
we are not going to be embarrassed by playing these songs for Michael Doleac because I feel like I've made a terrible error. I feel like I should have just left this alone. We had a success on Friday. I should have moved away from it and felt good about myself. I find myself even grateful that Doleac hasn't yet picked up Mike's phone call as Mike tries to hunt him down. I almost want to just pivot here, even though it's disappointing to the audience because we can't get a hold of Michael Doleac. I want to pivot to Bill James at the Sloan Conference. I think, yes, it's a terrible pivot by me.
You're willing to go anywhere when you're willing to go
That's
there.
correct. I am willing to go to Bill James at the Sloan Conference instead of going to Michael Doleac because this is what I told you. This is what I told you last week. The reason that I'm scared of going to callers in general, taking callers. Oh, no, he's calling?
Yeah, I mean, listen, a whole different perspective back here. You can actually see when Doleac's calling it.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's either him or Bill James. I don't know.
Okay, so Bill James said at the Sloan Conference, he said, some of you may not remember, but baseball used to be fun to watch. If Bill
you
James
brought your damn calculator into things, Bill. Jeez.
If Bill James is getting tired of baseball, Billy.
I had a conversation the other day behind the scenes with Anthony. We don't need to get too into it, but it was basically if numbers ever turned on human beings, it would be Bill James's fault. And in this world, calculators would be giving you the wrong information because they're just tired of humans and all the stuff that they put them through. And it all come down to Bill James turning numbers against humans.
I've never been more nervous in my entire life. And 16 years of doing this show and these songs for Doleac.
Billy is very defensive about baseball. Mike, do we have any songs?
Oh, no.
Do we have a good batch of songs? Before I go to the live songs, do we have a decent batch of songs? I'd like to get ratings from Michael Doleac from 0 to 10, 10 being his highest score, 0 obviously being the lowest. Michael, thank you again for making time for this nonsense. Did people stop you all weekend wanting to talk about the Doleac songs?
No. I was in Canada, so I avoided all of that. I was just, skiing a little bit, so it was easy.
Okay, so you avoided all the paparazzi. You avoided all the people asking you about the Doleac songs. Are you ready to rank these songs? It's sort of it's American Idol. It's America's Got Talent. We've only got one judge here. It is a 10-year NBA center, Michael Doleac. Are you ready, Michael?
I'm ready.
All right. So let's play the first offering for Michael Doleac. I am wincing, cringing, and fearful.
He's Michael Doleac. Yep. Them other sinners don't know how to act. Yep. He'll box you out and leave you on your back. Yep. Don't take it to his paint.
I actually like that one. That's the only good one we got today. Doleac, what are your thoughts there?
I mean, I give that a solid 6.
Oh, no, we're in trouble.
Wow, that's the good stuff, though,
we're in
Doleac.
trouble. We came out of the box. Mike's trying to heal my confidence. I don't think we're going to do better than a 6 today. Let's see what we have. Mike thinks he might have something that Doleac likes.
I want Michael Doleac. I want Michael Doleac. Chili's, Doleac ribs. Chili's, Doleac ribs.
All right.
Barbecue sauce.
Delightful, man.
No, it's awful.
It's got to be an 8, Doleac.
Doleac, what do you think? Don't try and badger the jury. How do you feel?
I mean, I kind of like that one. I give that one a notch above. I give that a 7.
Oh,
wow. Doleac.
All right, Mike, do you have any others back there worth playing? Is there anything there worth playing?
Boom, 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 boom. Mike Doleac brings all his boys to the yard, and his game is better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. He will teach you how to take good charge. Mike Doleac brings all his boys to the yard.
Oh, man, it's a good one.
Oh, we just got different tastes in music. I give that one a 5.
Whoa!
Doleac does not like that one.
Whoa.
So, Mike, you've got one more? Do you?
I got to go to the best one now that we have from the earlier parts of the show because Michael Doleac, he's a tough judge.
Return of Doleac. You know that he's not whack. It's Michael Doleac, and he's taking it to the rack. Return of Doleac. I think he played with Shaq. That's Michael Doleac, and he never smokes the crack.
It really fell apart at the end.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
You don't smoke crack. I mean, you can't smoke crack. Come on.
Right.
That's what I keep saying.
And it rhymes with Doleac.
All right, so I've got some live callers. I'm scared of all of
10,
these.
10.
He gave it a 10.
Right.
Mers Dabby, you're on with Michael Doleac.
I didn't screen this.
Go ahead, Go ahead, Mers Davitt.
Go! Doleac!
10, Michael? 10?
You like Rammstein?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yes, that's well said.
So you do hast to.
Raul,
Oh,
you're on with Michael Doleac. Raul, go ahead.
You've averaged 4.9 points per game.
No.
And you played behind Shaquille O'Neal. But you won a championship with the Heat. You won a ring. Your name is Michael Doleac.
Good God.
He sang it so much better
Stugotz!
into my. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Well, hold on. Michael likes that type of music, so perhaps he thinks it's a 9 or a 10.
He doesn't know that what
Sounds of Silence.
How would
Everyone knows that.
I know Sounds of Silence.
Silence would have sounded better.
At least he committed to it. That was terrible.
Yeah. All right, Dan, don't lose confidence here. All right, I feel good about Drew, John, or Matt.
Lorenzo, you're on ESPN Radio. Oh, no, Lorenzo, no.
He played with Leitner and backed up Shaq. Was great with rebounds and putbacks. At times the widest down the floor. He don't play back there, bar no more. Michael Doleac, don't talk about it.
That's good.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
That was good. Ted?
That was pretty. That was a 9. Yeah.
Wow. So, Lorenzo.
Matt.
I screamed that one.
Matt, you're on ESPN Radio. Matt, go ahead.
What would you do if I took it to the hoop? Would you stand up and try to block me? Play some defense and I'll back it out. I will try to hit it from the top of the key. Oh, Doleac can spy with a little help from Ray LaFrance.
Yes.
Oh, that was good.
I told you the key was Ray LaFrance. I told you. John, you're on with Michael Doleac. Go ahead, John.
The Doleac spring became the summer. Who'd have believed he knows Ray LaFrance? And magic hands dunking on you, blocking me, sweet Doleac.
Ba, ba, ba.
Never seemed so good.
So
I've been unfairly fined to believe Doleac always could score at will.
You were right about this, LaFrance.
Rafe, man.
Michael, what are your thoughts there?
Oh man, that was decent, but the two previous were by far the best.
Right. I mean, I think maybe leave it alone and don't go to Drew.
All right, you're right. I'll leave it alone. Michael, thank you. We'll do it again with you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow? Oh, hell no.
Pay that man his money.
That is the most aggressively anyone has ever asked the question tomorrow. He is so done with
that
us.
ends the chapter in our lives.
Perfect.
It's the best answer to that.
I've never heard tomorrow said that aggressively as a question.
It's a stutter of confusion.
I need to hear it again.
Mike, you got to isolate that for me. You got to isolate it for me. It was hostile. I don't blame him. Tomorrow?
Oh, man.
The most comfortable mattress on the market just happens to be in my bedroom. I lay down on a Casper mattress every single night. Almost everyone here does. We all have them. Tell them why, Stugotz.
Yep, we've all heard of Casper, the sleep company with outrageously comfortable products at not so outrageous prices. And with their current end-of-season clearance, you can save up to 20% on the mattress of your dreams. Save up to 20% on mattresses now through March 23rd, 2020. Offer expires March 23rd, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. Save 10% off the Essential, 20% off the Casper and the Wave. Limit one offer per customer and order. Additional shipping fees apply for Hawaii and Alaska. Please see Casper.com/terms for additional terms and conditions.
Give me more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Today on ESPN Daily, Tom Brady's future with the New England Patriots. It's still up in the air. Could we see him in a different uniform next year, or will he stay with his team of 2 decades? That's ESPN Daily, presented by ADT. Download, subscribe, and review ESPN Daily, available wherever you enjoy your podcast.
We will get back to what it is that Michael Doleac said to end our call with him today. I believe it's the funniest way anyone has ever said tomorrow. I also believe we haven't had a payoff like that in terms of walking the tightrope since Mina Kimes was at a Super Bowl 2 years ago and was on a zip line. It was uncomfortable all show for me today, trying to get through all of the sewage required to get Michael Doleac to finally tell us, as punctuation to this, that he couldn't believe we were asking him to come back tomorrow. He said tomorrow. He added an extra T to the front of tomorrow. It was a wonderful comedic pause. Michael, thank you. We'll do it again with you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow?
That's the sound of the day. It is brought to you by My Computer Career, trading for a better life.
Tomorrow?
It's so good. At Le Batard Show, if you want to vote on the polls, give me Mina on a zip line here, giving us Super Bowl analysis, because I remember this segment, we were like 8 minutes late. We just needed her to climb up in a mall in Minneapolis, and she was scared, and we needed Super Bowl analysis while on a zip line, and it took all show to get to it, and we were drowning all show until we got the payoff.
She's still with us? So get to Brady with 4 is what it sounded like.
Time now for the funniest thing from the sports weekend.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha, ha, ha!
Funniest thing for the sports weekend, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead. Think Advance.
Chris, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Patrick Beverley saying it's no challenge guarding LeBron. I mean, what are we doing here?
Being Patrick Beverley.
That's a good question. Billy, what is the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
After getting ejected, Houston roughneck DeMarcus Gates found time to do an interview with Diana Rossini and sign autographs on the way back to the locker room.
How about you, Roy? What was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
The new Rams logo.
Is
it looks terrible.
Is it terrible?
It's terrible. It looks like the first XFL's version of the Chargers logo. That's what it looks like.
And it's just bad. Why did they need a new logo? What was wrong with the old Rams logo? The old Rams logo is a classic.
They're doing a rebrand.
Yeah. Change. Yeah, it's changed for change's sake, basically.
It does look like the Chargers. It's weird.
Yeah. Also, that hat doesn't take the true colors, but the primary logo is much better.
Mike Ryan, what was?
I felt the need to be
it was
super fair.
Very really unbelievable there that you offered. Fair.
I'm just saying what leaked isn't the actual logo.
what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
So, if you watch the Battlehawks at Defenders, and who wasn't, it was going up against the Clippers and Lakers on FS1. I'm sure we were all tuned in. Oliver Luck adding to the beer snake, a beer snake that went from the lowest level all the way up. There's a dude that's a Defender fan that just wears a box of Bud Light seltzers on his head. It was an absolute joy to watch. They're totally leaning in on it, but that's not my submission. My submission is FIU basketball. To distract opposing free throws, they have this weird hypnotism wheel and an inflatable, used car lot dancing man behind the hoop.
That's good.
To
I like
distract
it.
people.
I like that. What about you, Stugotz? What was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Kentucky coach John Calipari thinking he was ejected from a basketball game, left the court, I believe took off a part of his suit, and then realized that he was not ejected from the basketball game and had to come back out and coach Kentucky until the end of regulation.
You guys realize that the Battlehawks quarterback said we're just killing ourselves in the foot? A real Stugotz classic there. We're just killing ourselves in the foot. I'm going with the funniest thing of the sports weekend being Bill James at the Sloan Conference. He wrote all of these baseball abstracts that I read as a child. He is somebody who has always loved baseball in a way that's unreasonable, and now he's looking at baseball and saying this is no fun to watch. I honestly can't think of a funnier name I can attach to not liking your sport than the guy who's made his whole career analyzing it.
I know, and it's very Stugotz of Bill James. I never thought that Stugotz would be strong in him, but he's the reason all this is happening.
Stugotz is strong in everybody, Mike.
How did your conversation with Michael Doleac end, Mike? Like after he ended his relationship with our show the way that he did. Michael, thank you. We'll do it again with you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Was there anything we missed, though, after that?
I thanked him for his time, and it became very clear that the book is closed. On Michael Doleac, so.
That's too bad. They were just getting good.
Tomorrow, Kirby Dardar songs.
We were just getting some momentum. Dardar tomorrow.
We will talk to you mañana. This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.